Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to go on a little math adventure. We're going to tackle something that seems tricky but is actually super straightforward, figuring out exactly where decimals belong on a number line. So, let's just dive right in. First up, let's talk about those spaces in between. We all know where to find the whole numbers, but what about all those other numbers, the ones that live in the gaps? It's a great question, right? You look at a number line, and bam, you can spot 0, 1, and 2 instantly. But what about a number like 0.25? Where does it go? What's its home? Well, we're going to solve this little puzzle together. And this right here is the heart of the puzzle. See those gaps between the whole numbers? They aren't actually empty. Oh no, they are jam-packed with decimals. To find them, we just need a good map to show us their precise addresses. And that brings us to our most essential tool for this whole quest. The map we're going to use is the number line itself, once you know the secret to reading it properly. Okay, so let's get a little formal for just a second. A number line is really just a line where every single number has its own unique spot, kind of like a ruler, right? The really cool part is that the space between any two whole numbers, like 0 and 1, can be broken down into smaller, perfectly equal parts. So how do we actually create that map? Well, we start by taking that space between 0 and 1 and slicing it into 10 equal sections. We call these tenths, so you get 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, and so on. But here's where it gets really powerful. We can get even more precise. We can zoom in on that tiny little space between, say, 0.2 and 0.3 and divide that into 10 more parts. And those are our hundredths. All right, map in hand, we are now officially ready to crack this case. It's time to find the exact location for our mystery decimals. Let's do this. Okay, here's our first target, 0.25. Our mission, should we choose to accept it, is to place this number on the line with perfect accuracy. And don't worry, I've got a super simple 3-step method that works every single time. First, we find the general neighborhood. Let's call it the 10th zone. Then we zoom in to find the specific address using the hundredths. And finally, we plant our flag and place the point. Easy. So let's apply this to 0.25. Step 1, look at the first digit after the decimal. It's a 2. That immediately tells us our number lives somewhere in the zone between 0.2 and 0.3. See? We've already narrowed it down. Now for step 2. We look at the second digit, a 5. And since 5 is exactly half of 10, that tells us 0.25 is located perfectly in the middle of our zone. Now think about it. If the number was 0.21, it'd be way back super close to 0.2. If it was 0.29, it'd be almost touching 0.3. But that 5 puts us right in the center. Nice. Let's try another one just to make sure we've totally got this. Our next target is 0.85. And yep, we're going to use the exact same 3-step method. Okay, let's follow our steps. The first digit is an 8. So what does that tell us? It puts us in the zone between 0.8 and 0.9. The second digit is a 5, which again means it's located exactly halfway between them. Just like before, if this was 0.82, it would be closer to 0.8. If it were 0.88, much closer to 0.9. It's as simple as that. Let's just pause here for a second and look at this. By placing these two numbers, 0.25 and 0.85, you can actually see their value. You can tell instantly that 0.25 is way closer to 0, while 0.85 is all the way over on the other side, getting pretty darn close to 1. All right, one last target from our mission, 0.95. Let's place it. So, following our method one last time, the 9 tells us we're in the zone between 0.9 and the next whole number, which is 1.0. And that 5 tells us we're halfway through that zone. See how close that is to 1? Compare that to, say, 0.91, which would just barely be past 0.9. Or 0.99, that's practically sitting right on top of the number 1. So we've totally nailed the how, but, it's just as important to understand the why. Why does knowing how to do this actually matter when you're not in a math class? Well, the truth is, you use this skill constantly, probably without even thinking about it. Seriously. When you measure 1.5 cups of flour for a recipe, or you split a bill that comes to $25.50, or you see a baseball player's .300 batting average, you are mentally placing decimals on a number line to understand their value. So here's the crucial point, the big takeaway. This isn't just about putting dots on a line. Understanding where a decimal lives on the number line is about understanding its actual real-world value. It's what gives numbers context. And I'll leave you with this one last thought to connect it all. Imagine that number line isn't just 0 to 1, but it's $0 to $1. Now, where would you place 0.25? That's right, it's a quarter. And suddenly, it's not just some abstract decimal, it's money in your pocket. Thanks for watching.